Hey everyone, my name is Lisa with Lisa Ann Designs, and in today's tutorial we are going to be going over two 3D shadow box cards. One is just plain 3D shadow box card. The other one is a 3D shadow box card with a print and cut in it. So that is going to be this one. It's the I Love You a Latte. This portion here is all 3D. As you can see, there is some 3D dimension to that card. And in the SVG that you purchase and download, you get all the pieces, including all the cuts for even the card itself with the score in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm through the instruction tutorial. We are going to go through and put this thing together. This piece here where it says, I love you, a latte is a print and cut. So when you go to do that, that piece of your download is an actual print and cut. So you will print that on your printer with registration marks, and then you send it over to your cutting machine, and then it cuts out right around the print. And then that way you don't have to worry about all the little pesky little letters and things like that and trying to keep them lined up and straight and everything else. So that is card number one. Card number two we're going to be working on is also a 3D shadow box card. As you can see, it's 3D and it's got the shadow box on it. And what it says is, I love you more than coffee. So this has some 3D dimension to it. The back piece is there, but this part here where it says, I love you more than coffee, this I put another piece behind it to make it show up white. So you're not actually putting white letters down on it. So trying to alleviate a little bit of the production time of making these, right? So this is very simple to make. It's just a few pieces, a few cuts. You've got brown, you've got white, you've got your card. Your file also will give you all of the cut pieces for the card as well as all those pieces. So with the score mark on it. So anytime that you're doing a card and you don't want to waste the paper of making a card on your cutting machine, go ahead and cut it out. It is going to be 4 inches wide. 6 inches wide by 8 inches long, and then fold it in half at 4. Okay, so if you don't want to use the cutting machine for that, but there is a piece in there with the score and everything. Same with this blue piece in the back of here. This is a 4x6. If you don't want to put that and send that to your cutting machine, just cut a 4x6 piece of cardstock for that piece. Everything else you can print and cut. Not print, but you can cut on your cutting machine, because that way it is much easier than to try to cut out these little windows. Okay. So we're going to make these two cards, and this is going to be super simple. On this one, we're going to do a little trick. So this part here is got, when you cut out the brown, you'll see in the tutorial that it is all empty, and then you put the white behind it to make it look like white letters. And then we're going to use a little trick. Those little dots right there are actually made with a pen. And the reason why is because that is really hard to go ahead and put those dots back in there with cardstock, right? So you're just going to leave those spaces open wide, and you're just going to put a little dot, and I'll show you that in the tutorial as well. So let's get started with card number one, and that is the I Love You a Latte print and cut. We'll need some basic supplies, a tape runner, some craft glue, pop dots. I used 2 different sizes in this particular card, some scissors, and lastly, I also used some tweezers, which we'll see further into the video. So we've got our card pieces, we've got a print and cut to do, and as well as all the pieces. Once you get them all cut out and printed and cut, we'll go ahead and get that assembled. So the first thing you want to do is the brown piece and the pink piece. And if you're not using these same colors, don't worry, just these are how they get layered together. This pink piece is a 4x6. You can use your cutting machine to cut it out, or you can just cut a 4x6. Sometimes I find that easier, and there's no waste with having extra space and stuff around. Just cut 4x6 pieces. This particular piece is a print and cut. What that means is you print it first from your printer with registration marks, then put it on your mat and cut it out, and it comes out just like this. We also have all the pieces for our latte, and we're going to go ahead and put those together. So what you want to do is you want to build this out, and then once we have the entire latte built, we'll use pop dots to put it onto the print and cut portion of the card. So just go ahead and add a little bit of glue, or maybe a lot of bit of glue. I added a little bit too much. Now this is where I use my tweezers, because I just find it easier sometimes to not get my fingers in the way, and I can just put them there. So we'll go ahead and do the latte foam first, and then the shadow
and as well as the coffee mug, then the shadow in the handle and the brim on the saucer. And once we get all those pieces together, then we can move on to the next step, which is adding pop dots and putting it onto the print and cut portion of the card. Okay, now that we have this all built, we're going to go ahead and add some pop dots to this, and then we'll put it onto our print and cut portion of the card. Okay, after we have our pop dots on, we're going to go ahead and place this here onto the print and cut portion of the card. We just want to kind of show that it has a little bit of a background and kind of place it there. And as you can see, it's got some dimension to it. It's really cute. All right, so next I am going to add some pop dots to the back of the steam. Now this isn't 100% necessary, but it just kind of goes along because the coffee mug is actually popped up. So add a little couple of pop dots to the back of this, and you do need to trim them down because they are very tiny. And as you can see, I could have used some tweezers on this one because they are very, very thin. Okay, now that we're done with that, still looks great. It's got some dimension. We're going to go ahead and now start assembling this card because this piece is done. So this is going to get layered on top of the pink, but we're going to put pop dots on that. So let's go ahead and put the pink onto the card first. We use our tape runner for that. Add a little bit on the back and then get it placed on top of the card. Now, once we get that done, then we're going to add some pop dots to the I love you, the print and cut portion with the 3D latte mug on top of it. So let's go ahead and add some pop dots. Okay, now that we've got all of the pop dots on, we're going to go ahead and layer this on top of the pink that has already been adhered to the card. As you can see, one of my pop dots got a little stray, so we'll just pull that back a little bit so you can't really see it. Give it a light little press, and that looks good. Now, as you can see, we need to put in the letter A because that piece got cut separately out, printed and cut separately. And this glue dot's a little bit, or pop dot is a little too large, so I'm just going to go ahead and trim that up and then get this placed. That looks good. All right, so now as you can see, there's pop dots. We've got some dimension to that, but we're not finished. Now you could stop there, but heck, we've got more things to glue down and pop up. So let's take this brown, and the brown frame is going to be popped up. So I'm going to use this smaller pop dots on this because it is a thin frame. So we'll just go ahead and add those pop dots to the back of this and get it placed. Okie dokie. That looks amazing. You guys, look at that. You can see the dimension in there. It's great. I used a little bit of a shimmery brown for the coffee mug. So one last piece is to put the pink trim on top of the brown, and we're just going to put that on with some glue. Okay, we're all finished. That looks amazing. I love the 3D effect of this, and I really like the fact that we used print and cut here as well. So I hope you guys learned something new. You enjoyed making the card, and thanks so much. Alrighty, let's move on to card number 2. Alrighty, let's take a look at the supplies that we'll need. So you should have cut out a picture frame, the background to the brown, as well as the card with score lines if you used all the pieces in your downloadable file. You also would have cut out of brown a smaller picture frame and then the main brown piece, as well as a 4x6 piece of cardstock as well. We will also have cut out all the pieces for the latte cup and the little sleeve. So in addition to those pieces that we cut out, I want to get over some supplies I use. I use tweezers, a pen, a bone folder, some adhesive tape, craft glue, as well as scissors, and of course, loads of pop dots. Okay, so let's get here. What we're going to do is we're going to build this piece first. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put the white onto the back of our brown. And it looks like my cut didn't come exactly perfect, but that's okay. We're going to go with it anyways because it's all going to get covered up. I'm just going to add some adhesive on the back of the brown and then put it on top of the white. And the white is basically going to be what is our cheater way of actually having to cut out letters, okay? So go ahead and layer those two on with just some adhesive. So once you get those two pieces lined up and you get them adhered to each other, you'll notice that the little pieces for the O and the A's and the R's are not there. So this is what I also like to do. Rather than cutting all those pesky letters out, I just like to take an ink pen or some brown marker and fill in those little spots where you would have had to put in either cardstock or pieces of vinyl, depending on how you cut this out. So there you go. Now I've got, looks like I got a little extra piece in the center of that E. So I'm just going to use my tweezers and get that plucked out of there. There you go. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to build out 3D version of the coffee cup with the sleeve right here on top of this brown. So by adding some pop dots, we're going to put pop dots on the back of all of these pieces with the exception of the heart in the center. That is going to be glued straight down into that space. Okay, so let's add some pop dots on the back of the sleeve. Put a little bit of glue in the center for the heart and glue that straight down. And then we will use pop dots to pop up the lid and then the actual coffee cup itself, the extra 2 pieces. So let's put this together. That looks great. So I do notice that I did get a little crooked when I put the white and brown together, but no worries, that will get covered up when we put the shadow box effect with the different layers. So let's go ahead and add some pop dots to the white and put that on top of the piece we just finished. Now that we've got that piece together, we are going to add another layer of brown, and that is just going to be the brown picture frame. It's just going to be glued to the top. Now, as you can see, that white or the extra piece that wasn't quite correct from before, all of a sudden kind of disappears, which is amazing. So happy accidents, right? Okay, all of our shadow box pieces are now finished. Well, let's go ahead and put the blue or the teal, whichever color you use, the 4x6 actually down to the card. I'm going to go ahead and use a tape glue for this, and I will stick it directly to the card. We'll get that centered right on there, right at the fold, as well as at the bottom. And I usually just use the corners in the bottom left and make sure it goes straight across and lay that on top. Next thing we're going to do, and last thing we're going to do, is we're going to put some pop dots on the entire piece that will then pop off of the blue to give it more of the shadow box effect. So last bit of pop dots, and yes, again, there are a lot of pop dots in this. But there you have it. You've got a 3D card. And as you can see, I did go back over these little spots one more time just to get them to stand out great. But there you go. You have a 3D I love you more than coffee card that is perfect for Christmas or Valentine's or whatever. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're all done.
All right, we're all done. We did the 2 cards. They came out amazing. I love them. I know we used a ton of pop dots today, but you can't get a shadow box card without putting lots of pop dots in it, right? So anyways, we've got great cards made. Whether you bought one file or the other, the tutorial is here for both. So if you're looking to purchase the other card, head on over to my website at Lisa Ann Designs for more inspiration. As you can see by the wallpaper, I do love a dog. And I do love some coffee. All right, so let's grab a cup of coffee and let's go make something. Thanks for your time.